Good morning, Treasure Coast. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here today. We're so happy that you took time out of your Sunday morning to come spend time with our next governor, Byron Donalds. My name is Dana Trabolsi. I am your state representative in District 84, which is just south of Crosstown Parkway. It's my pleasure to serve you, but it is even more of a pleasure to lead you in prayer this morning. So I would like to ask that you all bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the opportunity of another day to serve you. Lord, we're grateful to be here today to celebrate the candidacy of our next governor, Byron Donalds. And Lord, over the next few months, we ask that you shield him with your armor, the armor that only you can provide. As arrows and darts are thrown at him, we ask that you give him the courage to withstand the fire, and you give us the courage and the bravery to walk beside him. Lord, we pray that you allow the people in this room in the state of Florida to use their eyes to see his heart for service and their ears to hear the message of a great Florida. Lord, we ask this in your name, in Jesus' name. Amen. Before we move on with our morning, we're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance, and we are going to invite the great owner of this wonderful establishment, Kyle Green, to lead us in the pledge and give him a big round of applause. Kyle is also a great public servant. He's always here to help us whenever we ask. He answers the call, and we are so grateful to you and your friendship.
Thank you, Dana. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Chicken Place. I hope you guys are having a great morning so far, Sunday morning. Thank you for being here. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. It's an honor to have everyone and to host Governor candidate Byron Donalds. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and feel free to join along and say it loud and proud. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Good job, everybody. It's great to have everyone. I am the local president of the Florida Restaurant Lodging Association here for the Treasure Coast. And in the beginning part of the year, the Florida Restaurant Lodging Association went ahead and gave Byron Donalds our full backing and support as well. So, knowing that he started in the restaurant industry means a lot to us, and we want to make sure that we keep our industry free as well, and I'm sure everyone else's. So, thank you all for being here. It's a pleasure to be able to honor and host them. Next up, we have Representative Toby Overdorf, who's also a great friend of mine, as well as Dana. So thank you guys very much for being here. And Representative, I believe you're up next.
Wow. Thank you, guys. Thank you all for being here. First of all, I want to say thank you to Kyle Green. Here's a gentleman that truly lived the American dream. Started as a dishwasher and worked his way all the way through. He now has, what do you have, 7, 8 restaurants now? He has 7 restaurants. This is just one of them. I mean, this is a guy who truly has lived the American dream right here in the free state of Florida. Thank you, Kyle, again. Appreciate you. Thank you. Good morning, Treasure Coast. For those that don't know me, my name's Toby Overdorf. I am the current state representative for District House 85. We have something here in Florida that's a little bit unique to the country. It's called term limits. So I will be, this is my last year. I will be leaving in November, and there'll be a new representative right now. The person who's leading that charge is in the front row. It's Anthony Bana, who's running for that seat. So that being said, it's wonderful to have so many friends and neighbors literally gathered here on the Treasure Coast and ready to stand up for the future of Florida, the future of our community. St. Lucie County represents so much of what makes our state special. From Fort Pierce to the city of Port St. Lucie and communities throughout our county, this is a place filled with hardworking families, veterans, farmers, small business owners, first responders, and retirees. People come here to build a better life, and they deserve a state government that protects that way of life. Florida needs a governor who will keep our communities strong, who will support law enforcement, protect our taxpayers, strengthen our schools, preserve the Indian River Lagoon and the St. Lucie River, and address the rising costs facing today's families. We need a leader who understands that growing counties like ours in St. Lucie must have the roads, infrastructure, clean water, and responsible planning necessary to grow without sacrificing the quality of our life. Byron Donalds knows the promise of Florida, frankly, because this guy lived it. He understands that hard work, personal responsibility, and he understands the importance of strong family values. He's built a business, raised a family, and served his community. He has earned a reputation as a principled conservative who's never afraid to speak up, speak clearly, and fight boldly. I had the pleasure of serving with Byron Donalds in the Florida House. And he was always one of those guys, and I'm going to date myself here because he was like that guy like E.F. Hutton. When Byron Donalds spoke, people listened. And when he was on the floor, people listened to what Byron had to say. He ran legislature specifically with insurance and banking. And he really understood that entire plethora of information that came there. Then this guy goes, runs for Congress, and he becomes a congressman. He's there not even 3 years. And there are people there that are, you all know it, 40 years, 50 years. He's there for 3 years. And the members in that chamber said, that's the guy I want to be the Speaker of the House. He received votes for the Speaker right away. That is unheard of, ladies and gentlemen. But that shows the leadership associated with Congressman Donalds. Byron's continuing to run to ensure that Florida remains the best state in America. We are number one, and we are glad to remind everybody else they are number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Florida remains the best state in Florida to live, to work, to retire, to raise a family, to start a business, and to create opportunities. He will defend our freedoms, Mr. Congressman Donalds will. He will protect our values, and he always, always puts Floridian first. So this morning, from St. Lucie County to every corner of our great state, let's send a message. We are ready for strong leadership, fresh energy, and a brighter future with Congressman Donalds. But first, we have a little surprise for you. It's my honor to introduce another leader who has dedicated his life to serving our nation and the people of Florida. Before entering Congress, my friend Brian Mast served in the United States Army, where his courage and his sacrifice earned him the Bronze Star, the Army Commendation Medal for Valor, and the Purple Heart. After sustaining life-changing injuries in Afghanistan, Brian did not step away from service. He found a new way to serve. In Congress, He has been a strong advocate for our veterans, a steadfast defender of American security, and a tireless champion for Florida's waterways and the communities of the Treasure Coast. Brian Mast understands that leadership is not about titles. It is about duty, it is about courage, and is about putting other people first. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming a true American patriot and a dedicated public service member who is not here yet. He is literally on his way from church. Man, I had it all queued up. This was great. He will be here. He will be here shortly, and I will jump back up here as soon as he is. He is literally on his way, long commute from Christ Fellowship, which is right over that way. And he will be here in just 1 minute. I will be right back to redo that line. Thank you. As in so many things in politics, it's a fluid morning. Apparently, Pastor Tom and Todd were killing it over at Christ Fellowship because they're still going over there. Brian's not here yet. And I'm sorry I missed that sermon, but you actually can watch CF online. Not that this is a plug for them. But that being said, I now get the pleasure of bringing up somebody who you have always known here in the Treasure Coast. They have been an influence in politics for over 24 years here, and you have known her to always be in red. The lady in red, no other than Senator Gail Harrell.
Thank you so very much, Toby. And I just want to say thank you for being here. You are really making a difference today in coming to hear our next governor of Florida. Byron Donalds will be the outstanding governor of the state of Florida. And your presence here is a message. You need to go out and tell every one of your neighbors they need to go and vote on Tuesday. How many of you here have voted already? Yes. Okay. How many are you going to vote on Tuesday and bring somebody with you? Okay. Dynamite. We are going to win this election on Tuesday, and then we are going to go on and win in November. I've known Byron Donalds, oh my gosh, since he was first elected to the Florida House. I was chairman of the Children, Families, and Seniors Committee, and he came before me with some legislation he wanted to pass, and we had some conversation. And he was so wonderful in how he approached legislation. He is there to really make a difference for families, for people, and for our children. He's very involved in education, as his wife, I've known for many years, involved in school choice and making sure our children get the very best education they can have so they can be successful adults, tax-paying adults, so we can continue to build the state of Florida. Byron will be the leader that we need in Florida to continue the great success we have had as Republicans changing the dynamics of Florida. I cannot tell you how proud I am to welcome Byron Donalds, our next governor of Florida, to the stage. Come on down.
So you go back there, I'm gonna stare down that song. Oh my goodness. Well, listen, first of all, it's great to be with all of you. And yes, I never thought I would ever hear that a pastor was killing it in service before. Not usually the words you hear on Sunday morning. But listen, we want to thank you all for packing this place out. God bless you guys for being with us. We are now 3 days away, 2 days away,
In 3 days.
in 3 days, in three.
Sunday.
It is
Election
Sunday.
Tuesday.
I know. I
Okay,
ain't
I
got
want
it
to
right.
say that.
But in 2 days, we are going to choose the next Republican nominee for governor in the great state of Florida. But before I say anything, I want to introduce you to the next First Lady of Florida, my wife, Erica Donalds.
Good morning. Wow. It is so much fun to be on the campaign trail, especially this close to the election. So much excitement and energy, especially from many of you who are working polls, telling your friends, wearing the gear, getting your friends and family out to vote. You probably went to early voting. We're talking to people in line, and we really appreciate it. And we appreciate you spending your Sunday morning here with us as well, as we're energizing all of your friends and neighbors to get out to vote by Tuesday. Just thank you. There's just so much excitement about what is ahead for Florida. Many people, though, don't know the Byron that I know. And that's why I love to be on the campaign trail, because I can give you a perspective that really nobody else in this state has. You see, you might know that we met in Florida State University when we were going to college there. Go Noles. Always a little risky in these rooms when we talk about our team, but as he says, he loves all the colleges now because he's running for governor. But when we met, we were 19 and 21 years old, and we were working our way through college. We really didn't get help from our parents. And then when we graduated and moved to Naples, he was working at Cracker Barrel in Naples, not the one you've heard a lot about in Tallahassee, but he transferred down to Naples, where I was living and working as a staff accountant. I was working a second job on the weekends. He was waiting tables, moving furniture. In a span of 18 months, we graduated from college, got moved to Naples, got married, and had our first son. And we were starting from the bottom. We understand what some of these young people are going through because we were there ourselves. We had to work our way out of debt. We took the Dave Ramsey course and we were putting money in envelopes, right? And doing the snowball. And so we know what it takes to start from nothing, and really through hard work and the freedom that we have here in America and in Florida specifically, be able to achieve the American dream and what we're calling now the Florida dream that we want for all of your children, and our grandchildren. And we're a product of that. And we hope that our kids, your kids, can raise their families here, start businesses here, be able to achieve generational wealth here. So many people came to Florida from somewhere else, but we are now building a Florida where people come, they live, they stay, they have families, they flourish, they start businesses like this incredible business that we just heard about Kyle's, where he worked his way from a dishwasher to owning multiple restaurants. That is the Florida dream that we want for every single family. And we can achieve that. I know from being married to this man for 23 years, he has the strength and the resolve, and he has the principled conservatism to lead our state on that next generation of results. We've had incredible leadership, and now we're building upon that. And whether it comes to education or economics, understanding the business community, understanding our environment and what's necessary, he has always been steadfast in his decision making and standing on principle, whether it's raising our family or serving in the state house or serving in Congress. And I know that we can count on him to continue to be that leader as our next governor. So thank you so much for having me and for welcoming us here. Your next governor, Byron Donalds.
She's pretty good, isn't she? What do they say? I outkicked my coverage. I think I did. Well, first, it's great to be with all of you guys here in St. Lucie County. It is my pleasure, and it's really my honor to be here. I'm gonna switch this whole thing up. We're gonna have some fun this morning. Is everybody okay with that? Kyle, come on up here, man. Come on. We literally came in the back, and I got a chance to meet Kyle before a couple of months ago at an event up in North Florida, out just outside Tallahassee in Gadsden County. And when you do a lot of these events, faces just kind of scroll by you, and it gets tough. And so we're in the back, and I thanked him for opening up his restaurant to us to be able to hold this event. But what Erica said is right. Started as a dishwasher. Now, I'm not. You tell your story. I'm not going to tell your story. Come on, tell the people, Kyle.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, so I started washing dishes when I was 15 over at Lefty's on PSL Boulevard. And you guys know Lefty's, so little plug to them. They still have the best wings, don't worry. And I fell in love with it, and so I worked all the way through high school, and uh, I wanted to be a chef. That was like Hell's Kitchen season 1 was coming out. Emerald was still on TV, and my dad said, "What are you, crazy? The long weekends, no family life, not a lot of pay." And I said, "I don't know, I just like it." So I got started in culinary school. I worked as a line cook out at Roddy's, where Kyle G's Prime now is, and I don't know, 25 years later, here we are. Just a lot of 2 jobs, stuffing money in envelopes to pay the rent and the car insurance and the light bill and everything else. And we're coming up on 9 years out at Kyle G's Prime next month, actually, September 17th. And yeah, it's just been a whirlwind ever since. So thanks, buddies. Please let me.
Thank you, Kyle. Well, my wife and I, we talk so much about the Florida dream. This isn't just something that happened about a year and a half ago. You're running for governor, and you're starting to think through all the policies, all the things that truly matter to this state. And you're looking for that one thing that ties it all together. And it just kept coming back to the Florida dream. Every conversation we had, conversations with friends, it kept coming back. And we started even thinking about that. And through this whole journey, you start to realize all the steps and all the decisions that get you to the point that you are in life. So when we see young kids in our state today, and quite frankly in America, who are concerned about how they're going to buy their first home, they're concerned about how they're going to build a family, it really took us back. We had those same concerns early on. How were we going to do it? Our first apartment, Erica and I had to finance the security deposit into our monthly rent because we didn't have it. And our landlord, she worked with us. She saw that he was just 2 young kids who were trying to pull it all together. I remember I would be waiting tables during the week, and then I'm on Sanibel Island in Southwest Florida moving furniture on the weekend. I've moved my share of furniture during my day. I've done it. And that's what we did. When Erica was pregnant with our oldest son, on the weekend, she's doing Kelly services. She was a receptionist at country clubs just to make ends meet, just to bring it all together. And then we were working hard in our career. The part that we've never really shared much, I'm going to share it today. I remember our oldest son was born, and Erica was still working as a staff accountant. I had got a promotion and got a little bit of a raise, and she wanted to go back to get her master's in accounting. And as much as we love Florida State, Erica Donalds is also an FAU owl, and she got her master's degree. Oh, you guys like them here? All right, okay, all right. And she got her master's degree in accounting from Florida Atlantic University. And so how that worked is she would go to work during the day, and then that night she would come home, she would kiss me and Damon, and she would go into this side room in our second apartment, and she would just study. And this was every day for 2 years. And she was like, "This is going to be so hard. What do we do as a family?" And I said to her, "I got you. I got you." So Damon and I, we were really close. We love all our sons, but I would dress him like me. So at the time, he would wear like a polo and jeans, and I would have a polo and jeans, and it will always match because dads, you don't have too much creativity when it comes to dressing your kids. But that's what we did. That's how we pulled all this together. And for our young people in this state, I just want to foreshadow for you to get from I don't know to accomplishing the Florida dream. It's just a lot of work. It's a lot of dedication. And what we're going to do in this state is we're going to make it easier for you. We want to make sure that you can get the credentialing and the internships. We want to make sure there's a thriving economy to have high paying jobs. When it comes to constructing housing, we want to reform permitting and planning so it's cheaper to build the housing. Because 30% of the cost of a new home is government, not pipes, not faucets, not furniture, not sheetrock or a roof. It's government. And we have to get that out of the way. When it comes to insurance costs, which everybody's having to deal with, young or old, we all know, we want to reform the regulatory side with the work that by the way, hasn't Governor DeSantis done a tremendous job leading our state? I love that little kid up there, man. I love him. That kid's awesome. But that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we build on his success to drive down insurance costs. And taxes, that's in your hands now. The voters will decide this November on property taxes. But this is not the end, this property tax amendment. This is the beginning. Because next year, we are going to use the Tax and Budget Reform Commission, which is in Florida's constitution. And we are going to study our tax system. We want to make sure that if we can't eliminate homestead property taxes once and for all, we want to target that relief to seniors who are on fixed income, trying to make sure they make ends meet. And we also want to target to the young people of our state to help them start in the Florida dream. Now, I told you we're going to mix it up a little bit, so I'm going to segue once again. There's a buddy of mine back there, him and his family, and this man is a colleague of mine. I call him the chairman now, but he's more than that. He is an American hero. Your Congressman, Brian Mast. Come on, buddy.
Good to see y'all.
Wait. Where's your kids?
They're right here. Mrs. Mast is right there trying to hide out. Come here, Mrs.
Come on,
Mast.
She's got to come up now. Too late.
And then the 16-year-old, he's off. He's got a girlfriend now, so he went to church with his girlfriend. So, Brianna, Major, Madeline, Maverick, we're all here.
Varying donuts.
The bigger one, Magnum, isn't here. Byron is a friend. You know how when you have a friend you're really proud of and you can't wait to introduce that friend of yours to somebody, like you hope you run into other people around because you're like, I hope they see me with that person. I hope they get to meet him. I hope they get to experience him. That's who Byron is for me. Byron is a friend. We've been in the trenches in working to secure our border. We've been in the trenches in working to cut people's taxes. We've been in the trenches just trying to get rid of the craziness that the Democrats were doing under the Biden administration. We've been in the trenches on all of these things. And, there's a saying that birds of a feather, they flock together. There's a reason that we're at one of Kyle G's restaurants. Kyle is integral in the community, all across the community, whether there's a hurricane, whether there's something going on, whatever. He finds a way to just get out there and help. There's a reason that Sheriff Del Toro is right back there. There's a reason that Representative Overdorf is right there. There's a reason that Representative Trabolsi is right here. And Senator Harrell is right here. And all of our commissioners are right here. Because these are all people that get out into the community, do everything they can, week in, week out, to just try and help people at whatever level they can. And they're here with Byron because Byron is a bird of the exact same feather. And so I just couldn't be more proud to be standing next to my friend. Go get him.
Thank you, my friend. Thanks. I love that man. This is a great man. Great man. I'm I'm gonna share a little bit. Side story. So Brian Mast was wanting to be the chairman of foreign affairs on Capitol Hill. And I sit on the House Steering Committee. And to get a little in the weeds, the steering committee is the committee that votes for who's going to become a chairman in the House of Representatives. And so what happens when you're on steering committee, all the people who are vying to be a chairman, they call you and they meet with you. And I met with everybody. And Brian said to me once, he goes, I have a presentation. What do you think? And when I looked at it, when he presented it the first time, I said, this is actually really good. This is going to move the room. I was like, but we know your story. Just make sure that you meld that with the plan and just watch what happens. And he came in that room, and I will tell you, I've watched a lot of presentations from members of Congress trying to become the chairman of a committee. It was without a shadow of a doubt that Brian Mast by far had the best one, the best. And that's why he's the chairman of foreign affairs today. And it also helps that he represents Florida as well. I'm going to talk a little bit about the other thing that he does. He fights for the environment of our state. He does. I'm telling you, every single day. And he and I even have debates about how we're going to do that, but he fights for it nonetheless. People talk so much about the economy of our state, the growth that's coming to our state. And yeah, we have to balance that growth because here's the truth. People are going to come to Florida, folks. You can't build a wall. I know we would want to. It's unconstitutional. Can't do that one. So people are going to come. So the question is, do we have a plan to balance the growth that is going to come to Florida while protecting the beauty that is Florida? And that's what Congressman Mast does every single day on Capitol Hill. He's protecting us as a nation from foreign threats, but he's also fighting to protect the beauty of this great state. And my friend, we're not done in that fight. We're just beginning. We're going to protect the beauty of this great state. So much has been made about data centers. Let's just be very clear and upfront. In Florida, it is law, signed by Governor DeSantis, that your utility bills will not go up because of a data center. They are not going to increase because of some hyperscaler. That is Florida law today, and that will remain Florida law. It is also Florida law that a hyperscaler would have to get a consumptive use permit for water. Now, let me explain what else has to get a consumptive use permit. We have companies in Florida that bottle water in our state out of our aquifer, and they actually sell it back to you, and they sell it to other parts of the country. They have to get a consumptive use permit. Anybody live in a gated community around here? Well, guess what? When they built your community, they had to get a consumptive use permit. Golf courses. Anybody like golf? Golf courses have to get a consumptive use permit. Industry in our state has to get a consumptive use permit. And they get it all from our water management districts. Florida has been executing these consumptive use permits for a long time because we know that protecting the fresh water of our people is critical to the future of our success. So these data centers, they would have to get a consumptive use permit too. And Governor DeSantis actually strengthened that portion of the law because the audits will be more frequent to make sure that they stay within the limits set by water management, because we are not going to lose fresh water to any industry or any data center. It's not going to happen in our state. We're going to protect our resources, and we're going to protect our people. Up the road about an hour is this place called Kennedy Space Center. Anybody ever heard of it? Anybody been there? Well, what once was a museum is now the most active spaceport in the Western Hemisphere. Florida is going to lead the world in commercial space. We're going to have more jobs, more manufacturing, more investment come to Florida because we have a geographic advantage, quite frankly, over anybody else in our hemisphere. You know, the guys in Houston, they always talk about how Mission Control was there. And that's true. Mission Control was in Houston. But the astronauts that went to the moon, they left from Florida. We are going to continue to lead the way in commercial space. And we're talking about a $2 trillion industry in our state, right, Toby? About a $2 trillion industry right here. Those are jobs for scientists, those are jobs for engineers, but they're also jobs for machinists and contractors and welders and electricians. These are the high-paying jobs that will help not just people today, but the future, our kids, be able to build the Florida dream for themselves. So when I talk about our environment and when I talk about power demands, it's not just for the campaign. We have to have a strategy of how we balance industry and our environment for the future of our state. Because if you want to take the Florida dream, not just defend it from the radical left, but take it to a whole nother level, we got to have a strategy for how we balance our future while also protecting what's great about Florida. When it comes to our agriculture lands, we need them. We feed ourselves in this state. We feed ourselves. Kyle will tell you some of the stuff in that kitchen has come off of farms right here in our state. And when it gets cold, we feed half of America. So working with Commissioner Simpson, we are going to continue to protect our agriculture lands because the farming in our state is just as critical as the rockets that we are going to launch to the moon and beyond. Everything we talk about is not about just the next 4 years of a governor's term. It can't just be about a governor's term. It can't just be about state senators and state representatives. It starts with our law enforcement, like Sheriff Del Toro, who's right over there in the back. Come here, Sheriff. Come out here and say hey to everybody. It starts with him. It starts with his deputies and all the sheriffs in our state. Because if you don't have law and order, you don't have anything. And Sheriff, thank you for your service, and you will always have my support. Thanks for your support, sir. So in 2 days, Florida will decide. I think they're going to decide well. But in a little under 80 days comes the real battle. Republicans will choose on Tuesday, but on Wednesday, we are one party and we are one movement. And we are one party and we are one movement for one very simple reason. Because the Democrats are going to run a guy named David Jolly. I didn't even tell you why to boo him yet, but you're going to find out. David Jolly is somebody who thinks it's still okay for boys to be in girls' sports. It's only him and the WNBA who thinks this. Thank God for Sophie Cunningham pointing right at him. Speaking the truth. And thank God for Riley Gaines, who laid it on the line in this country to protect the sports of young women. David Jolly still thinks it's okay to transgender kids. Like, this is sick to me. I don't even understand this. Even the American Medical Association has finally realized that this is insanity, that you do not take the puberty from kids. You protect their puberty. Even European countries have realized this now, and they've stopped this practice. But David Jolly and the radical Democrat socialists, they still support it. Let me tell you And he calls them culture wars. That's what he says. These are culture wars. No. Protecting American culture, protecting the puberty of our kids is not a culture war, it's common sense. And if he believes that protecting the puberty of our children is a culture war, then sign me up. Because I got 3 sons, and I'll be damned if anybody's going to tell my sons that they can be girls. David Jolly is somebody who has said that Dr. Fauci had unimpeachable judgments. Fauci. But he said it, and he believes it. When Ron DeSantis did the right thing and he opened Florida and he kept us free, David Jolly flew to Pennsylvania. He left this state and went to Pennsylvania. And he went to Pennsylvania and he was an MSNBC pundit and he was criticizing Ron DeSantis' leadership for keeping Florida open and letting us be free. So I'm very clear on this one, and everybody in our state should be very clear on this one. If you think that Fauci was smarter than Florida, you do not deserve to lead Florida into the future. David Jolly is a Trojan horse for the Democrat Socialists of America. He will do the same thing that Abigail Spanberger did in Virginia, the same thing that Katie Hobbs did in Arizona. They run like moderates. They're very soft-spoken and very nice. Their suits are pressed perfectly. And they say everything is going to be okay. He says he just believes in a better Florida. Well, folks, we're already the best state in America. And let's be very clear. David Jolly would undo every piece of success of Ron DeSantis and, quite frankly, Rick Scott before him. He would undo it all because he would bend the knee to the radical socialists, the same craziness that we're seeing all across the country. Florida is different. There's a reason why there's now 1.5 million more Republicans than Democrats in our state. There's a reason for that. And the reason is because we have people who have fled New Jersey and New York and Connecticut and Massachusetts and Wisconsin and Minnesota. Add to that Illinois, Washington State, Oregon, and California. And Cuba. They've come to this state because they know that Florida is the state that embodies the American dream and the U.S. Constitution more than any other state in America. We do it here. So the question this November is very simple. Are you going to stand with me to make sure that Florida remains red? Are you going to stand with me to make sure that Florida remains free? Because St. Lucie County, they can keep the crazy in California, they can have the insanity in Chicago, and they will keep Mamdani in New York. But the Democrats will never have power in Florida. God bless you, St. Lucie County. God bless you, and God bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and have some photos with the congressman. If you could please form a line over at the Kyle G sign if you'd like to have your photo with the congressman. I did also just want to do a quick Thank you to Representative Brackett, Representative Trabulsi for both being here, Mayor Martin, Councilman Pickett, Councilman Bonner, Congressman Mast, Commissioner Leet, and Commissioner Clasby for all being here. Thank you so much, and Sheriff Del Toro.
They have stairs on that side?
No, sir. You're gonna go down front. If you could go ahead and just walk over towards the Kyle G sign where it says Kyle, we'll form a line over that way. Then we'll work you up in front of the stage. We have a gal right over here. She's going to wave in a second. That's where we want to start. She's waving over this way. Thank you all very much.